hmm just writing my signature 4 more times. Yeah. It doesn't look like my signature. Now, I know that somebody's saying, well, you're just not being very careful with your handwriting. Well, I have thousands upon thousands of documents to be able to prove my identity. See, I was a financial consultant at Washington Mutual in Port Angeles, Swim, and Port Townsend. Yes. And some very corrupt individuals wanted to say I was crazy. Yes. For not being able to read. Now, I want you to understand something. There is no exceptions to the enforcement of the laws. That means that every oath of office that has sworn that they would support and defend the Constitution of this nation, I will have them all put in prison for any knowledge of the refusal to execute the laws of the United States. And since this marriage certificate is from the United Nations, you're going to want to remove your fraud today. Now, these clauses, yes, quite often when you look at the contractual obligations of any city, yeah, mhm, any county, oh, tribal governments, yes, state employees, and the federal employees of the United States of America, if your signature does not look the same as it did 20 years ago, yes, I'd have to ask what happened to your handwriting. Now, it could have been that some technologists, yes, they just don't like typing code. Yes. See, a software writing family, yes, got tired of having to type millions of lines of code to write their operating system. And it happens to be the operating system of 95% of computers worldwide. Now, if I asked, yes, could you get me every computer throughout the world that has a Microsoft operating system? Yes. And all the updates of all those operating systems for the last 25 years. I'd like to know, did a billionaire family right now decide that they just did not want to type any more code? Now, as a citizen of the United States, yes, there is no exceptions to the enforcement of the laws of the United States. And when I sent hundreds of thousands, could be a million copies of the marriage certificate, it's legitimate. So Heidi took the original when she kidnapped my sons. Now, judges. When issuing the dissolution of marriage, did she provide the original copy of the United Nations marriage certificate? Yes. And is it against the law to give custody of children to a spouse? Yes. Without a marriage certificate that you can dissolve? Well, I think you need to practice your handwriting today, judges, in every county of the United States. Because for every signature that I find that doesn't look like it looked 20 years ago, yes, I'm going to ask who has your hands right now. Now, these employees of the United Nations, yeah, there's the actual employees of the United Nations that work in the United Nations, yes. And then there are the employees of the United Nations in other nations, yeah. Now, this was signed in Jakova, Kosovo, yes, on December 18th of 2000, and I signed it. Yes. Now, for every individual that said, well, his signature doesn't matter, when you didn't get my signature as appearing in court and signing the dissolution of marriage, yes. When you didn't serve me before issuing protection orders, when the only signatures you have are when you arrested me and had me arraigned, yes. Every signature that you have happens to violate the laws of the United States. Every signature. You never had jurisdiction or authority of law to arrest me for the false allegation of a crime in Sequim, Washington. You never had the jurisdiction to arrest me in 2012 for the false allegation of attempting to contact the petitioner through the third party known as as Healthy Families of Clallam County. You never had the nerve to fabricate, yes, the false allegation of violating the restraint provisions of the protection order on June 16th of 2017 and cyber stalking. Now you'll notice in these emails, yes, it's my email addresses that you should have been receiving emails from. Yes. And if you received any email from any email address that is not mine or is no longer functioning, yes, every piece of evidence happens to violate the laws. Now, I want you to carefully consider what you're going to do today. Yes, because that article that I read in the Peninsula Daily News last night implies that one of my sons is a load of shit. I want you to very carefully consider what you're going to do today. Now, my suggestion, yes, is that you would execute the laws of the United States. You would remove the fraud of the forgery of the ex officio Superior Court clerk. Yes. You would remove the fraud of the dissolution. Yes, you would. You would give me custody of my son.